So this was released today by Fox News. Well, actually, it was by Adam Sabes almost within a day. But basically, I'm so thankful that the Moscow, Idaho police called out Dateline for being the liars that they are. It's sad that there's such a billion-dollar industry off of true crime, and showing his face, all these people everywhere online showing his face over and over and over and over and over and over, seeing this man's face, and it's irritating. But the police called Dateline out for being liars, and I've seen so many people repeating things that they're seeing in these episodes, and it's so annoying. And so thank you to this lieutenant who's just basically saying that they just are didn't call them the word liar, but totally called them out for totally fabricating stuff about the story. It's not necessary. They don't need to make stuff up. They don't need to do this, but this is what they do. They want to spin their own stories to make money, and it's disgusting to be profiteers off of these tragic deaths. So the police claim that a television special episode on Kohberger's quadruple murder case contained gross inaccuracies and, in quotation marks, complete falsehoods. So people, please do not spread these falsehoods, and I'm going to tell you what these falsehoods are. I have seen this. I have seen this in videos on YouTube. I have seen it in other places. So they're saying, and I have shared the reports that were from documented things that was recently released, and I don't even monetize my videos when it involves other people's deaths, right? Because it's just ugh. So anyways, but basically there was concern, which is valid by many people, that there could possibly have been a second person. What does Dateline do? Dateline concocts a story to rule out a possible second person even being involved, even though there was another break-in that was just like this one in a house full of sorority girls at 3:30 a.m., broke in with a knife, and that was from a year earlier, and people are making up stories about, oh no, that person was short. There is no description of the height, and they actually thought it might be him, but a staff member said, no, it's not possible, and he was 2,500 miles away. And then there was a text message to the family members during the sentencing hearing talking about some wannabe murder. There were things in the police reports talking about second person. There was blood found in a house nearby, and people are making up, concocting stories that was, acting like that was nothing. And people are just trying to plant themselves and spread lies so that they can just spin this story and this narrative, and it's disgusting, right? So anyways, they said that he sat down in a chair in one of the rooms because he was exhausted. And so they have said that rules out that there could have possibly been a second person ever involved. And that was completely made up. He did not sit down anywhere in that house. I mean, that was completely fabricated. So thanks to Lieutenant Darren Gilbertson, who was a lead investigator in this case, okay? And he told the Idaho Statesman that Dateline, they just got some of their facts wrong. Not only did they just get their facts wrong, there was gross inaccuracies and just complete falsehoods. So remember that. If you're somebody who follows true crime stories or whatever, the Dateline and these types of people who make episodes, they spin their own stories, guys. I am so thankful for this lieutenant. And to make it worse, they spin stories, just made up nonsense about how the wounds on Ethan Chapin were carved. How are you going to take somebody's death? It's tragic enough that this horrible thing happened to these beautiful people, but then you're just going to make up stuff about them that wasn't even true? That's so unnecessary, but they're so greedy, so disgustingly greedy, wanting to make profit off this story. They're going to spin it to be even more juicy by just lying and claiming stuff that his wounds were carved. No, they don't have any idea of which person was the actual target. There was nothing. They just lie. No, he didn't sit down because he was exhausted. No, he didn't carve. The wounds were not carved. I mean, just stop it. Look, completely false. Made up. He did not sit down in a chair. All these people claiming they're just spreading rumors that they're seeing online as fact, when in fact there was a lot of stuff that was sealed documents in the case, and they were under a gag order until after he was sentenced. So the recently released documents that show a lot of things, okay, that is brand new. Like, none of that was released that's in those reports. I went through a lot of those stuff that was in there. There are a lot of very concerning things. People who claim, oh, that guy who, that other break-in, that person was short. No, that is a rumor that is spread online. There's zero, zilch, nada. And then they quote the Dateline episode as their source, their credible source. Well, Dateline makes stuff up. They want to stick to this narrative that they have concocted, and the fact that they said that he was exhausted and sat down, and there was like blood on the chair or something like that, and then it went to and carried that blood into another room, and that rules out a second person. I mean, they're just going their own route. So anybody trying to share things that was discussed in Dateline as some credible source, well, you might want to rethink that.